Have you ever just stopped and wondered if there's more to reality than what we see? Like a hidden layer of patterns and connections, just sitting there, waiting for us to find it? Well, today we're going to pull on that thread. We're mapping out this really fascinating and, pretty unconventional search for knowledge that ties together physics, history, and culture. Let's dive in.
It always seems to start with that one huge question: what lies beyond the universe? And for some people, this isn't just a philosophical thought experiment. No, it's the beginning of a serious investigation into how reality actually works, one that goes way, way beyond the standard textbooks.
So the first stop on this journey is this idea that the reality we see and touch every day is just the surface. That underneath it all, there's a kind of hidden code, a fundamental geometric pattern that structures literally everything in existence.
Okay, so we all learn the conventional model in school, right? We learn about atoms, the elements on the periodic table, the basic building blocks of our world. And look, that's a super powerful and useful map of reality. But what if that map just isn't the whole picture? What if there's another layer to the blueprint of the cosmos? Something that doesn't just describe the stuff in space, but the very fabric of space itself.
So this is that alternative model. It's called the 64 tetrahedron grid. The people who advocate for this idea are suggesting that space isn't empty at all. Instead, it's built on this incredibly intricate geometric framework. Just try to picture it, like a crystalline lattice that forms the very foundation of our physical reality.
And this idea has a pretty famous champion, the visionary architect and inventor Buckminster Fuller. His claim that this is a more accurate way to see space, well, that's a huge departure from the simple XYZ grid we all learn. The takeaway here is, we're being asked to completely rethink the emptiness between things as something structured and just full of potential.
All right, so if the universe is built on some kind of hidden geometric structure, the next question is pretty obvious, isn't it? What flows through it? What's the energy that's powering this whole grand design?
This question really shifts our focus from the structure of space to the energy that brings it to life. We're taught that space is a vacuum, but this worldview says the exact opposite, that it's actually full, totally brimming with a limitless foundational energy field.
And this isn't just a theoretical idea for a lot of people. Organizations like the Keshe Foundation and the International Space Federation are actively trying to understand and even harness this universal energy. They often call it zero-point energy. The idea actually stems from Max Planck's discovery of the quantum world, this notion that even the empty vacuum of space is absolutely teeming with energy at the quantum level.
And in this worldview, this cosmic energy isn't just some raw, chaotic force. It has qualities that can actually be tuned. It's all described in terms of frequency and vibration. The concepts you see here, like solfeggio frequencies or a specific tone like 432 Hz, are believed to be the keys to harmonizing with this universal energy field for things like healing, expanding consciousness, and tapping into a deeper reality.
Okay, now this is where the journey takes a really fascinating turn. Because once you start questioning the fundamental nature of reality and energy, well, it often leads you to start questioning our understanding of history too. This path almost inevitably leads to re-examining ancient history, a lot of which has been popularized by shows like Ancient Aliens. The thinking goes something like this: if this advanced understanding of cosmic energy is real, then maybe, just maybe, ancient civilizations had access to it, possibly with a little help from some off-world visitors.
The narrative here is just epic. It talks about ancient space arcs, hidden deep beneath the Earth's surface, technologies far beyond anything we have, and direct contact with interstellar alliances. From this point of view, ancient myths aren't just stories, they're faded memories of actual historical events. And these stories are populated with very specific figures. Beings like the Anunnaki from ancient Sumerian texts are a perfect example. They get reinterpreted not as mythological gods, but as real, flesh-and-blood extraterrestrials who played a massive role in human origins and our development.
So, we've journeyed through physics, energy, and ancient history. But this worldview isn't just a collection of theories, It's a living, breathing culture. It has a certain feel, an aesthetic, and it definitely has a soundtrack.
The soundtrack for this journey is often electronic and really immersive. Artists like Astrix, who is big in the psychedelic trance genre, create these complex, driving soundscapes that are meant to induce a kind of transcendent state, a feeling of journeying through inner or outer space.
And the visual aesthetic, often pulls from cyberpunk classics like Blade Runner. It's that blend of high-tech, futuristic imagery with those really deep questions about consciousness and what it even means to be human.
A really deep spiritual component is key here too. Practices like Om mantra chanting aren't just for relaxation. They're seen as a practical tool for tuning your own personal frequency to the universal vibrations of that zero-point field we were just talking about.
And yeah, the exploration of consciousness itself is absolutely central. Documentaries like DMT, The Spirit Molecule, are major touchstones here, framing the exploration of our inner space as being just as important and just as valid as the exploration of outer space.
And really, if you had to just capture the overall vibe, it might be the atmospheric, kind of down-tempo sounds of bands like Massive Attack. They create this contemplative, mysterious, and deeply thoughtful mood that just seems to permeate this entire sphere.
So, what do we make of all this? This tapestry of sacred geometry, cosmic energy, ancient visitors, and psychedelic soundscapes. It's a complex and, you gotta admit, a pretty compelling worldview, a modern map for a timeless quest. It might not have all the answers, but maybe its real value is in the questions it makes us ask. What if reality is way more structured, more energetic, and more mysterious than we ever imagined?